Jean from Happy Indulgence, and today I'm going to be covering my top 5 unexpected favourites of 2018. If you're a book blogger or you're a book YouTuber, basically you get a lot of book recommendations from other people, and even if they're not in my usual genre, I end up picking them up if there's a lot of hype or some of my favourite bloggers love these particular books. And I'm really glad I did, because I found a lot of new favourites this year, some of which aren't in my usual reading genres. So I'm going to be going through these 5 books in no particular order. It's really hard to order them, obviously. Yeah, let's just get started. So the first one is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I actually listened to this one on audiobook because I borrowed the hardback from the library and it was a super huge book. The audiobook definitely helped with my love for this book, because the main character, Monty, was actually narrated by Christian Colson, who is also from the Harry Potter series. So he really pulled off Monty's witty humour, how he's so arrogant and stuck up, but also the slight vulnerability that the character has as well, especially for his feelings for his friend Percy. So I really enjoyed this book. It's a bit of a historical fiction, but it's basically about 2 guys, so Monty and his best friend Percy, who is a black boy, and it's set in the 1800s where they're in Paris, and they're basically 2 bachelors just living it up and learning about themselves and learning about their love for each other. The way they navigate each other, being best friends for such a long time, there's a bit of complications when it comes to that, especially when it comes to the people around them. What was really great about this book as well, beside the smart, sarcastic, witty humour and dialogue, both characters are bisexual, so there was a great bisexual representation here, and it did talk a bit about Percy and a bit of how he was subjected to racism back in the 1800s, and a bit of class struggles as well. Monty and Percy are both, you know, high-class rich Englishmen who have everything laid out before their feet. They got into a lot of hijinks in the book, which were really hilarious, and I just loved Monty's narration throughout the whole book, and Percy was also a sweet cinnamon roll that had feelings for his best friend, but you never really know where he stands. So I really enjoyed this book. It ended up being one of my top favourites of the year, but I didn't enjoy the Ladies' Guide to Petticoats and Piracy as much. I think that one was a bit of a disappointment for me. So obviously I gave this one 5 stars and hope you guys pick it up. The next unexpected favourite is The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum. Look how beautiful this cover is and how beautiful this book is in general. I picked this up because I saw it at the bookstore. I was really intrigued by the unique formatting of the book. It gets more shadowy and darker as the book goes along, and I wanted to find out what was happening between these 2 boys, one called August and one called Jack. Jack has a mental health disorder. August is codependent on him. So throughout the whole book, there's like a power struggle between both of them. They really care about each other, but at school, it's like they don't interact at all because one's super popular and the other one's a bit of a drug dealer. There are a few trigger warnings in this book. The mental disorder, there's a bit of self-harm and pyromania, and also just generally problematic behaviours when it comes to codependency and when it comes to looking after yourself. But I really liked how during the whole book you don't know whether Jack has a mental disorder, whether it's dreaming, whether it's magical realism, whether he is actually living in a fantasy land, because he tends to see hallucinations. August just ends up going along with it. So I'm not going to spoil too much of the plot of this book. It's one of those that's best discovered when you go into it yourself. It is a short and super quick read, but also a darker mental health type of book with LGBTQIA representation, which was really fantastic. So The Wicker King I actually gave 5 stars to. There obviously are some problematic themes in here, but the author's note explains it all. It's meant to be that way. So yeah, if you love contemporary mental health books, definitely pick this one up. The next book is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, and I actually listened to this one on audiobook and I loved it so much I ended up picking up the whole series this year. Hunting Prince Dracula, which is the second book, is probably my favourite in the series. So Stalking Jack the Ripper is another 18th century book about a girl called Audrey Rose, and basically her passion is in forensic science. Obviously in those olden day times, a lot of women are resigned to the fate of marriage and being housewives and not pursuing a passion of their own. So it was really great to see Audrey Rose want to pursue her passion and be supported through that. They are basically trying to solve the Jack the Ripper mystery. There's a lot of murderous corpses that come up, and then Audrey Rose and her lab partner Thomas Cresswell meet, and he's so cocky, he's handsome, he's super confident, and he supports Audrey Rose in everything that she does. And that is part of the reason why I really enjoyed this series this year, because of the banter, the support, and the friendship that they offered each other unconditionally. It's also really haunting as well. Obviously it's a murder mystery, but then you've also got two really great characters at the heart of the story. That's why I enjoy this series so much. As I said, I did like Hunting Prince Dracula the best because it does go into the whole Transylvania Dracula legend, and that's where Audrey and Thomas are learning about forensic science with other students. And then the third book is Escaping from Houdini, and that is set on a cruise ship in a circus-like setting. So each and every book has a different setting, but they feel like standalone episodes in a way, which I really like. I just think both Audrey and Thomas are such headstrong, passionate characters that go together so well. My next unexpected favourite is The 7 Lies of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Oh my gosh guys, if you haven't heard about this book, I don't know if you've been watching BookTube or been on Book Twitter, but it's a lot of favourites for a lot of people. This one probably surprised me the most out of all of these books that I picked, because it's in the romantic fiction genre, and I really read adult romance fiction. It's about a superstar called Evelyn Hugo, and there's a reporter that comes in to document her life and her 7 husbands that she's had throughout her career. From reading the blurb, I didn't think it would be a book for me, but I really wanted to give it a go because of how much hype I hear about this book everywhere. And I'm really glad I did. I listened to the audiobook of this, and oh my gosh, Evelyn Hugo's charm and personality and vulnerability and even her flaws does really come through in the story. So the reporter comes in and interviews Evelyn Hugo when she's a bit older and she's gone through the prime of her acting career, and then she tells all about her life and the husbands that she's had and the secret that she's harbored for a very long time throughout her whole career. Evelyn Hugo is one of those characters that really jump out of the page to you and that you can picture so vividly in your head for just the charm and personality that she holds. To me, it felt like she was such a real person, that she was a real starlet that had to learn through all these flawed decision making she had growing up. She had a difficult childhood, but she wanted to escape to become a successful actress, and she achieved it throughout her life. And that was with the help of friends, of husbands, of different people that she had met throughout her life. And when you listen to the trials and tribulations of this amazing lady, it just makes you think of how one's life can be lived through the decisions that you make despite what hurdles are thrown at you. And it was just kind of motivational in a way, and towards the end as well, it did send me into tears, like it did with a lot of people, because of how touching the story was. What I love about Evelyn Hugo as well is she's like a bisexual heroine. She's also Puerto Rican, which is really great, so there's that sort of representation in there. It does talk a bit about racism, about the different stigmas that you can hold in Hollywood, which was really interesting as well. So if you guys haven't read Evelyn Hugo yet, what are you guys waiting for? Even if it's not in your particular genre, I definitely recommend picking it up. My last unexpected favourite is The Astonishing Colour of After by Emily XR Pan. This book actually ended up in my top 10 favourites of the whole year, which is a huge achievement given how much I read. So this book is basically about a girl grieving her mother who has died by suicide. So she goes back to Taiwan to live with her grandparents to find out more about her mother and to prepare for her funeral, and she deals with her grief there as well. There's a bit of magical realism in this book. Basically, when she's back in Taiwan, she starts to see visions and ghosts of her mother, and she starts to experience different memories that her mother had in the past and that she had in the past. It was just a really beautiful exploration of grief. I've read a lot of books about grief, but this one, with the magical realism and the Taiwanese traditions and how she went back to explore her roots, it really hit home for me, particularly since I am living in Australia away from my grandparents as well. And she learns a lot about her mother, the person that she was, and the memories that she holds throughout visiting her mother's favorite childhood places in Taiwan. It was just a really great story about exploring the importance of family, the memories that you build. I love the Taiwanese setting and the Chinese representation here. So it's just a really beautiful book that I gave 5 stars to, and I'm really glad I read it. So these are my top 5 unexpected favorite reads of the year. If you have picked any of these up, let me know in the comments down below, and I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on them. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!